a gel ice pack. These things are great. They do not get hard at all. They are super liquidy, and this is actually very, very, very cold, and it holds its coldness for a very long time. So you can wrap it around your foot to help reduce with the swelling. One of the things that you could put on top of it, because the fabric that it comes with is a little bit extra thick and I hardly feel the cold going through, is one of these, like a do-rag type of thing. And they come in different thicknesses. So, and they're only like maybe $6 a piece, or you can sometimes get them one for $6. They're normally for your head or for your neck. They're called tubes or tube hats or neckerchiefs. They come with all different types of names, but these things are great for putting the gel pack underneath and then using that instead of using the actual thing that it came with. And if you need to, if you had an extra long one, you could double it up so you can bring it back around. And like I said, they do come in different thicknesses. This is the t-shirt thickness. This one here is a little bit thicker, and then I have a couple of them that I wear during the winter time for my head that are like super thick, but of course that would be equal to the same thickness as the original gel pack holder. All right. This sock is a great sock. It's made for dress shoes. It's very, very elastic and very stretchy. Some people go with a diabetic sock, which is a full sock, and it does have a lot of stretch. But right now, this is what I have. It's kind of like a dress sock for dress shoes, and you can see it's very easy to just slip on and slip off, and so you keep your foot nice and clean, and there's no hard pressure on your foot, and it can be taken off and put on as you want. So it's very, very helpful to have something like this on your foot most of the time. Then this sock is for the other foot. This is a I'm not sure exactly what the name brand of these is. I'll put it up there. So these socks, because of the tread on the bottom, helps you stick to the ground. You can see this one also has it. So it comes in two different colors that you can put on your foot. E-bags. These things are awesome in and of themselves. I use these all the time whenever I go traveling. They open all the way up and around so that you can put your clothes in them and then zip everything up and then throw it into your luggage, and you'll know exactly what stuff is your pants, which is your clean clothes, what is your electronics, all that. Now, they do come in multiple sizes and they come in sets. The small size is the one that I've been using for just getting around the house because it's super helpful and it's just the perfect size. So my sports bottle drink can fit in there. I grab it and then I just attach it to my hand whenever I'm hopping around the house. It's also the perfect size for my iPad, right? So whenever you're going someplace just around the house, this is awesome. Without this, I'd have to carry a backpack with me everywhere, and that would just be a hassle. And they are fairly large, so you can put a lot of stuff inside this before they actually become overly stuffed, see? So it is really, really convenient to have lying around in your house. Okay. A stool like this, super, super helpful. It's just a little tiny stool like that, but you can take a towel, so you can stand like a normal person again, and this way you can take care of all of your basics that you need to take care of. You can wash your hands, right? Brush your teeth, you can shave, you can do everything that you need to do in front of the sink, or, sorry cat, if you're a guy, rotate it around, and of course you can use it to, do what you need to do into the bathroom. I also use this for showering. So I put a plastic bag on top of it, and then I can shower standing up and not worry. This is also a very good purchase. It's for protecting a cast, so it will keep your foot dry. It's very simple to use. The top has a little diaphragm that stretches open, You just stick your foot inside like this, like that, and then make sure that it volcanoes up the shape so that the water runs off. Dry all this area before taking it off, and your foot will never ever get wet in the shower. Although this is waterproof and no water will get inside unless of course your cats bite the plastic and put holes in it, and the lip here is nice and stretchy, it will hold to your leg, so no water will get inside. But because of when you're showering, because of the heat and because of the water around it, it will get condensation on the inside, so there will be moisture in it when you're done showering. So my solution to that was just by putting a thirsty towel, one of these yoga towels, inside of the bag, and that absorbs any of the moisture that appears from either your sweat or whatever else that causes the condensation on the inside. And you could put paper towels or gauze or whatever else you want in there, but one of these really thirsty towels are great for it. Also, hanging it up to let it dry, I just use one of these clips that I got at Home Depot or any other supply store that you can find, Lowe's or whatever, and you just clip it onto something and it sticks like that. See, just clamps right on to whatever you want it to clamp onto, and then you just hang it, right? So it won't fall off. It'll hang and dry. You can hang it this way or whatever way you want, and it just pops off when it's done. Okay, also, crutches. One of the things I learned very quickly is my hands hurt on this, so I ordered really puffy tennis racket tape that I can wrap around this to make this a bit squishier. Other people have other options that they've done where they've wrapped cloth around it and then duct tape and other things. I'm hoping my solution works fairly well. One of the first things you're going to want to do is shrink your crutches down a little bit. You're going to want to have them, there, so that they're lower than they're supposed to be. I'm 5'10", so these things are actually supposed to be an inch or so higher, and I found that that really hurts up in here. So you can see I made it a lot lower, dropped it down 2 spaces, and that way the pressure is more on my hands and nothing is rubbing up in here. And that will save you a lot of pain as you're getting around from place to place. Also, get yourself a carabiner for your keys, because it will help out a lot. That way you just hook on and then go where you want to go, and then when you need to, you just unhook. You could beep in, or you could use the keys or whatever, and once you're done, you're not fishing for pockets or anything. Alright, so 2 things that you're going to want right away when you get your cast off, or if you're not using a cast like I am, you're going to want wet wipes of some kind. And you want the kind that are non-flushable. If you get the flushable kind, they break apart really easy, and if you have dry skin, you're going to shred the little paper towel thingy. So use a normal wet wipe. Now, when you do it, you're going to be washing the inside of your foot and your toes really well, the bottom of your toes, but you're going to stay away from the actual incision site. You're not going to go anywhere really close to that, because the alcohol that's in the wet wipes will dissolve the stitches, or it will cause the little tape things that I have to lose their glue and come off. So you want to clean all the parts, of course, in between the toes and under the toes. This will do 2 things, actually. It will clean your foot, which is nice, because then you don't have stinky feet, and it will also maintain the sensitivity. It'll cause your body to regrow the nerves a little bit faster, because you are sensitizing the area by touching it, which helps out a lot. Then you're going to use moisturizer, because your foot will dry out very, very easily from the bandages and from everything else, and you're going to use moisturizer on the whole area, but not, again, not touching the exact incision site, staying away from there. So if you don't use moisturizer, what's going to happen is your skin is going to crack, it's going to dry, and it's going to start to tighten around the injury. So when you do start flexing your foot back, and when you flex your foot forward and you start pointing your toe, you're going to feel a lot of stretching in the skin here, because that has been dried up. Now you're still going to feel it in the injury site, because of course we're not touching that, and the injury site is actually getting harder because of the scar tissue that's appearing all the way through to the inside. So after you get your moisturizer going, then of course you want to stretch and flex as much as possible to get all the skin to be as soft and flexible as possible. So it's been 2 weeks since the operation, and I got my bandage taken off. So what I'm doing is at night I'm wrapping my foot in these. This is sticky gauze. It's basically the same as the cloth wrap that I was using before. It's the same as this. It stretches, it does everything that this does, except you don't need those clips at the end to hold it in place. It'll stick really well to itself and nothing else. So it's really sticky to itself, but it won't stick to anything else. You can see it doesn't stick to my skin at all, but it sticks really nice to itself. So I have one thick roll and one rather thin roll, and I use the thick roll. I wrap 3 times around this part, and it breathes, so you don't need to worry about that, but don't wrap it too many times. Just wrap it like 1, 2, 3, just to cover the incision site. And then I use this one, just a small little clip that goes once around, that basically just keeps it on my foot so it doesn't slide off. I don't think it would slide off, but I just don't want to have something happen where this is getting rubbed on the incision site. So this holds it firmly in place. For those of you that are on week 1, a good thing to have is a butt pillow. Now this is not a donut, this is just a standard kind of stiff pillow, and you'll be sitting a lot. You'll be sitting for hours and hours a day with your leg raised up, and what will happen is, because you are sitting in this position all day, your body is going to want to slide down like this, and because it's sliding down like that, you're going to find some pain in the skin in your butt. And it's not sores or anything like that, it's just, you know, the stretching of the skin and the position of the body, which is kind of a pain. So if you do put a pillow here with a gap in the middle there, you'll actually be able to sit in the little groove here like this, and this will actually stop you from sliding down and give you some support. It'll put some pressure on the backs of your legs rather than just on your butt, and this will save you a lot of pain when you stand up. So if you're sitting here playing video games or sleeping or whatnot, you got your foot raised, you're good. This type of boot, it's like a walker boot. It's actually extremely helpful. I used it for the first maybe 3 weeks, possibly 4 weeks through the injury. You can adjust it, so you can change the angle that the boot is going to stay at and how much flex it has at each angle. So you can actually sit there and make it so that it doesn't flex past 90 degrees, or you want it to be able to flex, you know, a little bit past there, but you want it to lock in place when it gets to 90 degrees. And you can make all kinds of cool adjustments with it. It's got an air little pump here that inflates a bladder that goes all the way down inside the boot, and that way it gets a much more snug fit. So I was using this thing all the time. The toe is really long, so even if you have, I have a size 10.5 foot, and my toes came to about here inside, so there was still a good 1.5 to 2 inches of space before the edge of the boot, so no one is going to hurt your feet at all when you're wearing this. And I would use this for icing. I would use it for making sure that my foot is always in a 90-degree posture. You want your foot to be 90 degrees because what's going to happen naturally is your foot's going to slowly go into this pointy toe position, and then you're never going to be able to get that foot back up again. So keeping it in 90 degrees when you're icing it and when you're just relaxing it really helps out a lot. I was using this also for icing because I could put the ice pack inside I put my foot in and then put the ice pack in and then strap everything on top of the ice pack, and that would make the ice pack shape better to my foot. Some people have an idea of putting the ice pack in water and then putting the water on your foot because then it shapes a lot better to your foot. I didn't try that because my plastic bags out here leak fairly easily. So I have a gel pack that I stick on there, and the gel pack is pretty soft. It pretty much conforms to my foot. It's just I have trouble keeping it on the foot, so I either have to wrap it or stick it in the boot. Like I said, the boot is very helpful. For me, it was $40 to get this. Not sure how much they are where you are. And I'm sure that they can probably go up to like $200 or $300 if you really look for one that's that expensive, but I don't think you really need to. I would wear this to when I was going in the cab. I'd wear this when I was going to go out to dinner. I wear it at home when I was icing my foot, when I'm just keeping my foot raised. And I would not wear it when I was sleeping. That was the one time I wouldn't wear it because it does have a bit of compression that goes in there because it does fit so firmly to your foot that I kept feeling like my foot was being constrained a little bit too much, and I like my foot to breathe when I was sleeping. But this is definitely a good buy for the first couple of weeks. What I'm using now is this boot, which is a short boot. But this boot is very wide, and I think that it was actually designed for a cast. I don't think it was designed for a normal foot to go in there. I cut up one of my Taekwondo pads and I stuck it in here so that I would actually get more secure fit back here and have more of a loose open fit in the front. That way it's not touching the injury at all. And I can stick it in there and it's a nice solid fit. It does push my toes up a little bit in the front, but I'm not too worried about that because, you know, there's still some extra space there. And then you just lock this in place. And this one was super cheap. This was like $10 for this, so not really that expensive. And it does allow me to walk. It doesn't have a huge sole on it, so that and my normal Timberland boots are about the same height, so when I stand I am the same height on both feet. I don't have to put any lifters or anything on my other shoe. I am still going outside with this boot on, but because this is a boot and it doesn't allow for a lot of the flexibility of the foot, I do exercises in the house. So I walk around in the house with, you know, socks on rather than barefoot because, you know, getting dirty is bad. And I will walk back and forth across the apartment for 15 to 20 minutes, and I'll do that 3 or 4 times a day. And that will allow for pressure and spread of all of the metatarsals rather than if it's inside of a shoe and it's constrained. I'm also sleeping. When I sleep, I'm sleeping with one of these little doohickeys on my toes. So you just put your toes through the holes. You know, normally you see these for girls who are painting their toenails, but this one is actually fairly soft and the spacing is decent. It's not like this one here, which is super chunky, and I tried putting this one on and it was just way too much space between the toes, and it hurt after just a couple of minutes, so I didn't want to have that feeling. No, but this does allow for a little bit of spacing between the toes, and it stops my pinky toe from curling underneath when I'm sleeping. So it does keep it straightened out the way they're supposed to be. So it's just an added measure to make sure that I'm healing properly, that my toes are in the correct position. It's not necessary, but I'd rather err on the side of safety. Okay. This is the iWalk 2.0. It is basically a pirate leg. It does allow me to move around the house. It's $150, but this was sent to me by my sister. I found it pretty useful, but I'm not sure it's actually worth the expense. For in the house, if you have the money, get it right away. Do not wait because you're only going to be using it for a couple of weeks. It supports the body on the hips here so that you can stand normal. It basically serves the same purpose as the stool that I showed you guys earlier, but it's mobile, so you can walk around the house. You can pick stuff up with both hands. You can do your weight training if you want, because your hips are balanced. You can sit there and do all kinds of stuff that you can't do with the crutches because your hands are occupied. You can sweep, you can mop the floor, you can, like I said, do laundry or dishes or whatever you need to do, and it's pretty helpful. The problem is that when you go outside and walk around the way that they advertise it, they advertise people walking their dog, they advertise people working in a restaurant, which is a lot of BS, I think, because this sticks out the back so far that it would end up bumping into something. Plus, there's very little padding in the knee, so every time you walk, your knee slams into the non-padded surface here. I put a karate pad in here. It's a Taekwondo shin guard. I put it in here to give me some softer knee impacts. I also took off the luggage strap things that they had cutting into the back of my leg and put my snowboard binding in there with some extra padding. So I had to make my own modifications, but all in all, I mean, I found it pretty useful. I didn't pay the full price for it, but if you believe that moving around your house and making yourself feel a little bit more normal is worth it, then go for it. You can see basically how it works. You can walk forward. Walking backwards is kind of tricky. It has this little bumper here that sticks off the side. You can see right there, this piece here. So you can grab onto it, so it acts kind of like a cane. So you can shift a little bit of the impact from your knee all the way up into your shoulder. So when you're moving along, you're actually doing this sometimes. I found that walking normally works for just a little while, but not for over 200 yards or over 100 yards with the normal padding, with like maybe a mile tops with my padding on there, and then my knee starts to hurt a bit. In the house, yeah, it's awesome because you can do all kinds of stuff that you didn't do before. And, well, because I made my own modifications, I can take this thing off and put it on fairly quickly, and that allows me to, get up, take the laundry out, and then pop this thing back off and, sit down for a while again. Basically, it's up to you whether you find it worth the $150 for just a few weeks of use. So if you're going to buy it, you should buy it fairly quickly. You shouldn't wait a really long time because it does take some time to get it in the mail, and you will have to make your own modifications to it. But since it's a gift, I think it's great. I used some of my old equipment and modified it to make it more comfortable. I use it in the house. I do not use it outside. I tried outside a couple times, and like I said, my knee was killing me by the time I came home. With the modification, I can probably go around 3 times the distance, maybe 4 times the distance, but it still ends up hurting my knee a lot because there is no shock absorption at all, and everything in there is just the padding that I put in. So this useful? Definitely, but worth the price? That's up to you. You are going to end up buying a lot of stuff in a short period of time, and there's just really no way around that. The crutches, I got those right away. They weren't that expensive. I think that they were $15 or something like that at the place that we got them from. And you wrap them up with some cloth, and that'll really save your hands, but I still end up getting a bit of callus on both hands in this area here just from grabbing those things all the time. The iWalk thing, if you're going to get that, get it right away because it is $150 and you are going to have to make your modifications to it because it does kill your knee really bad. You should get the stuff that you need before the time that you need it, and that's why I'm helping you out with these videos, because it is a really small window of opportunity for each item to use, and I'd really like you to get your money's worth for that, or not buy it too late and waste your money entirely. Later on, when you switch from going from 2 crutches to 1 crutch, another option that you will have is a walking cane or a walking stick. Now, this particular one I got on sale, so it was only $40. Now, you can get these up to $200 or $300 if you really want to spend that much money on it. One of the reasons I got this one is because it has a little thing for putting a camera on the top of it at the end there. So it has a head for putting a camera on top if you really want to. Now, the bottom part has a spike on it, so you really don't want to be walking around on tile floors and stuff with a spike. It comes with this little nub that fits on the spike, so that way you can walk around on more solid surfaces. The problem with the nub is that A, it is very, very narrow, and B, it's very hard. So it's mainly used for hiking on hard dirt or on something similar to it. It's not made for walking on tile or on regular wooden floors. You will slip a little bit. What I found was that the crutches that I've been using, the stopper on the end there, that thing actually just pops right off like this, and then the diameter there on the end is the exact same diameter as the head here, so it just fits right on like that. And so then you have a big fat head that's soft rubber and gives you a lot of traction, so it does help out a lot. And this cane, after I'm done using it for, of course, my injury, you can use it for just basic hiking, and my roommate likes to hike a lot, so they'll use it more than I will. Another benefit of this over top of the single crutch is that it is compactable, so you can shrink it down so that, I mean, you can see how small that is. That could pretty much fit in the backpack, but obviously this is not going to give you a big problem when you get into a car or into a taxi or something else. So you can store it with you like this, and when you need it, you can just pop it open and start using it as you want. I really do suggest getting something like this, because even after your foot feels a lot better and you can walk around the house without any problems, you'll find that when you start walking long distances outside, your foot starts to hurt a lot, and it's nice to have something like this that you can rely on when you need it. And when you go outside and you feel, hey, my foot is fine, you start walking around out there, then after about half an hour, 45 minutes, your foot starts to hurt. You really don't have any fallback if you don't bring something with you. So if you do bring something with you like this, you do have something that you can rely on to displace that weight and stop using the foot as much as you were. So give your foot a rest. So another good purchase. This is horse chestnut. It is what the doctor gave me for my foot to regrow the veins, or to strengthen the veins while I was healing up. So it was one of the 2 drugs that he did give me. He gave me one which was a anti-inflammatory, which was for the first week, and then he gave me this, but he's got me on this for actually like 2 months or 3 months. So you can see it's 750 milligrams of this stuff.